whatever is unhealthy. Alright? Something like that. Okay? So, just know more about yourself in terms of hometown and so on. Get some sample speaking tests, take a look at the question, and take note of these questions, and take note of, or write down these questions on a piece of paper, then note what you would say about yourself. Alright? This way you would know more about yourself, alright, before the test comes. Language is spoken, alright? So you speak Arabic, maybe some English here and there, okay? You can understand French, but German is a bit of a hard language, okay? And I don't know anything about Russian, alright? Let's take a look now at participation, alright, and expanding on what you're saying, alright? I speak German. That's a very limited sentence. When you speak German, or when you say you speak German, try to elaborate. Try to say when you learned it, when you decided that you wanted to speak German, and so on and so on, so on and so forth. Alright? When you, let's say, we take a note of things that we did over the last weekend. Alright? This is just a small practice. Take some notes about yourself right now, alright, on what you did last weekend. By the way, of course, our weekend is on Thursday and Friday, sometimes even a Saturday. Okay, just say what you did when you weren't working. So I'll give you some time here while you're writing. Some examples could be going shopping or watching, just relaxing at home and watching television. Maybe you have an online service and you just rented a video. Okay, hired a video is a very old expression. I'm talking about these very old VHS tapes. Of course, nowadays you can just watch a movie on demand. Alright, over a website like Netflix or I think Hulu. Alright, these websites you can just open and watch whatever you want. Went for a bike ride or just driving through the town, visited the library, telephoned home, all of these. So for now, I believe that you have already written what you would like. Then I want you to expand, right? So, welcome back to the second part of my IELTS course. This is the 9th session, of course, and if you remember the first part, I was talking about some of the strategies that we need to employ in the first part. Of course, the most important thing in the speaking test is to try to relax, alright? Now, of course, that's what other teachers are saying, and I will also say this, but I understand it, of course, if you are a bit stressed out, if you're a bit nervous from the test. So let me assure you, the examiner will be very friendly, okay? And you will have time in the beginning to break the ice, as they say. You will have time to relax and enjoy speaking to the examiner for a bit in the first part before going to the second one. Just bear in mind that some of your answers should be a bit more complete. You need to take a look at you need to shall I say, group your answers into good sentences by expanding on your answers. For example, some people tell you, okay, so you're learning English. Why do you want to learn English? That's the first question. I need to learn English. English is very important. English will help me get an interesting job. I want to work in the tourism industry. Of course, you can link these sentences using the linking expressions that we have learned before in the reading, in the writing, in the speaking sessions. Okay, let's take a look at these. So I need to learn English because it's very important. It will help me, or if I learn English, it will help me get an interesting job in the tourism industry. Okay, or let's say, for example, the question is, why do you want to learn English? So I really want to learn to work in the tourism industry. I heard that English is a very important language there, so here I am trying to learn English, and I am pretty sure that if I could reach a good level in English, I'll be able to go there. Okay, where do you work? I work in a bank teller, as a bank teller. Working in a bank can be interesting or boring. Many people do their banking by telephone or on the internet now. So, I am a banker at the blah 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 bank. I believe it's a bit of a boring job. Earlier on, or I think in the 1980s and so on, the people would come to you and have a good conversation with you as a bank teller. But nowadays it's just on the phone or on the internet, so my job isn't exactly colorful as it was maybe 10 years ago. Tennis is a wonderful game. To play tennis, well, you have to be very determined. I enjoy playing tennis, I enjoy watching tennis. So, let's say tennis is a wonderful game because it's a game that depends on determination. The more determination you have, the better you play, and the more fun you have watching it or just, playing tennis or just watching it, maybe. So I enjoy playing tennis as well as watching it. Okay, this is as well as. Tennis is a wonderful game because something. So, I live in an apartment. The apartment is small. I would like to have a larger place to live. One day I will. I live in a small apartment at the moment. Okay? Or I live in an apartment at the moment which is small, right? But I would like to have a larger place, and hopefully I will get one if I get a better job. Even though, and because all of these are good examples of linking words, memorize these in addition to the ones I have taught you in the writing session. Right? Even though and because, takeaway food is very popular in many countries. Even though it's bad for our health, takeaway food is expensive. Alright? Or, takeaway food is very popular in many countries even though it's bad for our health. Full stop. It's a bit expensive because cooking at home is more sensible. Or you can say just because takeaway food is expensive, cooking at home is more sensible. My school was very large. Of course, remember that he's using the past tense here because I'm pretty sure that he graduated from school. Same thing, it should be said by you if you're talking about the past, right? Try using the past tense often. My school was very large and there were hundreds of children there. It's impossible to know everyone at the school because there were hundreds of children there. So you can say, because there were hundreds of children at my school, it was impossible to know everyone there. I even didn't know all the teachers, and so on. I love movies, watching TV. Okay, so I love movies while watching TV. I don't like, I love to watch movies while watching TVs, maybe. All right. However, I don't like live theater, and I don't like opera either. And I don't like opera either. Okay, right. Remember that you can use neither here as well. Right? So you can use something like this. I don't, or I neither like opera nor theater. Right? I neither like opera nor theater. And I swim, run to keep fit. Of course, this is how you keep fit. Right? Keeping fit is important because people who are not fit run the risk of getting ill, or if you are not keeping fit, you run the risk of getting ill. It's difficult to study if you're ill or if you're not well. Anyway, let's take a look at saying a well-rounded answer. Right? We are stressing on the point, okay, in which you must try your best to answer all aspects of the question, without them being asked. Your family. The examiner can say, can you say or talk a bit about your family? Alright? Just say everything you know about your father and your mother and your siblings. Okay, your father, your mother, and your siblings. So, okay, so I live in a happy family of 3 children. Okay, I am the middle one. Alright? So my older brother works as a technician in the car maybe, or maybe he's an engineer in a construction site north of Abu Dhabi. My younger sister is still at school, and I hope she graduates from something school next year. My father is a doctor, and my mother works at the same hospital as a nurse. Right? Your hobbies and so on. Now, of course, these are also additional examples to some of the situations or the questions that you could be asked in a first part or in the first part of a speaking test. Your hobbies, your education, your hometown. Okay, your hometown, of course, talk about where you live, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Festivals and national holidays are very clear. Alright? Write down your topic and subtopics on a piece of paper and give it to your partner. As always, if you train with with a friend, it will help you a lot in your speaking test, and especially in your speaking test. There's no getting around it, I'm sorry. You have to have someone to have a conversation with. If you cannot, okay, use the internet. I would say that an IELTS test in 1995 was brutal because we didn't have online resources, but nowadays it's becoming easier and easier to ace an IELTS test because of our online community. Okay? We are even having this lesson online, which was something almost impossible 20 years ago. Anyway, using the notes as a prompt, ask each other general questions about the main topic. So you can use these topics, okay? Of course, your family could have 4 main topics for every member of your family. Your hobbies, maybe if you have 2-3 hobbies, okay? Every one of them warrants a main idea. And the same thing goes with your education, your different stages of education. So where did you spend your primary school, your preparatory, or your middle school, and your high school, or your secondary school? Just mention each one of them. And finally, the university, or if you have some higher studies like masters and PhDs, talk about them. Your education, your hometown, and so on. So, let's take a look at the second part, which is, in my opinion, the one that many people have problems with. It's called the long term, or the long monologue. Right? The monologue. If a dialogue is a conversation between 2 people, a monologue is a speech given by one person. In that monologue, you will be the only one speaking for 1 to 2 minutes. Here, 1 to 2 minutes. And I'll just put a red square around this to talk about it later, 1 to 2 minutes. Let's read. In part of the test, you'll be asked to give a short talk for 1 to 2 minutes on the topic chosen by the examiner. Have a minute to think about what you're going to say, some notes, and you will have up to 2 minutes to speak. Alright? So, again, you will have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. And remember, when you jot down your minutes, let's see here, to make some notes, the examiner remains silent while you are speaking, but may stop you when the time is up by asking you a related follow-up question. So, when the time is up, here, when the 2 minutes are complete, they will stop you. Alright? Then they will ask you 2 or 3 questions. Part 2 offers an opportunity to show the examiner your ability to keep on going, without unnatural hesitation to demonstrate your speaking skills. Now, including pronunciation. By the way, in pronunciation, accents will not be a problem, all right? Except in situations where a difference in pronunciation yields a different word. Let's say, for example, you want to say this, just here. You want to say this point, okay? I've heard some Egyptians say point, right? We have a problem in differentiating between the P and the other letter, the B, here, right? It won't be a big of a problem in the IELTS test. This very word, point, right? I think it can be said. But let's say, for example, something like this one, beach and peach, all right? Beach is the large strand of sand, okay, at the end of the sea where you relax in summer, right? Beach, shorter. But peach is a fruit, hoch, right? A difference in spelling, in pronunciation here yields a completely different word. So, of course, we have lots of words in the English language, and there's no guarantee, okay, that your difference in pronunciation will be harmless. Which is why try your best to make your pronunciation correct. As Arabs, right, we have problems in words such as B and P, or sorry, in letters such as the B and the P, okay, and in the TH and the S or Z. So we call the, in part 2 of the test, you will be asked to give a short talk, okay, short talk for 1 to 2 minutes. So the test, or in part 2, right, of the test. Try your best to pronounce the P like this. When you pronounce a P, you pronounce it from the tip of your lips. Ha. P, right? Ha. But when you say B, you pronounce it from the lower part here of the top, alright? B, right? Ha and ba. The same thing is, or similarly in your throat, when you say P, the beginning of the word does not make your neck vibrate, or your throat vibrate a lot. But in B, right, your neck vibrates while you're pronouncing this B sound. So H and B have a difference. Another difference is between the Z and the TH and so on. Okay? We all know how to pronounce the Z because we have this letter in Arabic. Of course, we also have the TH sound in Arabic. Th, right? I think it's the fourth letter of the Arabic alphabet. But Egyptians tend to forget this one and just mix it up with zin. So to say that, put your tongue under your top row of teeth, under your top row here. All right, that. This will yield the sound that you need. Of course, za is pronounced as a zain, and sa, okay, that's a different letter altogether. By the way, there is a very difficult word to pronounce, this one. Arabs generally tend to pronounce this as clothes, this one. Okay? Clothes, malabs. Okay? When you pronounce this one, try to pull your tongue in. Huh? Then pull it in while saying this. Okay? This. You pull your tongue in while pronouncing clothes. Clothes. Alright? This is how you pronounce clothes. Alright? Of course, over the time you'll be able to do it quickly to say it like clothes. It will be easier as you practice. Of course, the key word here is practice. Anyway, so let's keep carrying on here. We're talking about pronunciation, in which it's not, the accent is not important if it's soft, and not a soft accent. You don't have to pronounce in absolutely British pronunciation. American pronunciation is also acceptable, but pay attention to the difference in letters that can change the meaning of words, and also make sure not to use different. This word here is called advertisement in British English. It can also be said as advertisement. Advertisement, right? But don't mix up the two. Don't say advertisement once, then advertisement. Let's carry on. Now, let's just take a look. Don't waste your minute trying to write out the whole talk. All right? You have a minute to prepare. Right? If you write complete sentences, the minute will be over before you finish your second sentence. The best way is to just mention the main ideas. So, for example, here, let's say your family. So main ideas: mom, dad, brother, sister. Then, of course, the supporting ideas: mom, teacher or nurse, and nurse, 15 years she was working, so nurse for 15 years, or nurse 15 years, and married maybe 10 years. All right? So this is how you pronounce, this is how you take down your ideas quickly. Key points, keywords. Let's just keywords. So let's use the time to jot down some key ideas to prompt you while you're speaking. The points you need to say. Below is an example of a topic for part 2. This is a topic for part 2. Alright? We have this topic and 3 mini questions which will accompany. The second part, this part 2 topic will always follow this format with 1 main topic and 3 subtopics. Actually, it's more or less, it can be 4 topics. Right? It can be 4 topics. Remember that the 4th question will be a bit different. Describe a place you have lived in that you particularly liked. So you should say when you lived there, who you lived with, what was the most memorable place about this place. There will always be a 4th question. Alright? Remember this. There will be 4 questions, not 3 in the IELTS test. I think this was an old book. Alright? This is a bit of an old book, which is why the 4th question is not here. But there will be 4 questions in the IELTS test. The main idea here is to take down these WH questions. There will always be about 4, perhaps even 5 WH questions. Of course, when you live there, of course, every one of these questions you need to understand very well and then answer. When you answer the questions, do not just answer the the questions given to you. Remember, we have a lot of questions that begin with a WH phrase. Let's just take a look here. We have these questions. Okay, here. We have why, when, where, what, how much, how often, how good, how easy. All of, and then with whom, okay, or who. And just here, who. All right. So these are. Come on. Just move this here into the way. Here, with whom or who. Also a question. We have 5 WH questions in addition to many questions beginning with how. Answer all of them. Okay? Answer all of them. But here's the trick. If you fail to answer all of them, right? in the time given to you, and the teacher stops you and the examiner stops you, any marks for these specific questions will be lost. If you haven't answered all of these questions, they will be lost. So you must begin with the questions that are here, that are written. So when, then, who, okay, who, then what. This is what you need to begin with. Then you start completing the things like where, things like how much, maybe how much money you paid, okay, maybe in rent or in buying this, maybe why did maybe you leave. If you left this place, why did you leave? Or maybe, of course, what was the most memorable about this place? Why did you leave? What, when, where, why? Who, what, when, where, why? And then how much paid, or how did you live there, or how was your typical day? Something like that. Okay? This is a place a place you have lived in that you particularly liked. Alright, so first begin with the main questions, the 3 or 4 WH questions that will come in the beginning here, and then answer the additional questions. Alright? Of course, you should have prepared them while you are in the minute. By the way, spend some time in the in the practice, while you are practicing your second part in IELTS, okay, to take down notes in less than a minute. Right? If you could take down all of these in less than a minute, you're in the black. You are in the clear. You are safe. You're in the safe zone. Okay? By the way, in the black here means in the safe zone, or more specifically in the safe zone financially speaking, because bankers wear black. Alright? But in the red means that you are in a dangerous financial situation. Let's just look at that. So you are in the clear or in the safe when you could or when you can take down notes for more than 4 questions in 1 minute. Why do we take notes for more than 4 questions? Because many students or many IELTS examinees answer the 3 questions, then find themselves having to repeat the answers over and over again because the minute has not passed, or the minute and a half, 2 minutes have not passed, which is why you need to take down more notes, okay, and in addition have sub-points here. So when you say when you lived, put details. So have dates, or maybe when you started living, and then when certain differences have occurred. Who, right, mention your roommate or your flatmate or whoever he is or she is, and then say what maybe what he or she does for a living. What the most memorable thing about the place? Of course, you can say something about what was in the flat and where the flat or the villa or the house was next to. Right? This is how you try to expand on the questions. Then answer the questions on the right. Right? Next. Read the instructions carefully and decide how you're going to approach the topic. In this case, you're asked to describe a place where you have lived. Right? Now, of course, it can be understood as a this is understood as a city. All right? A place where you have lived, a city.